Obviously disappointed with the score. Was really the you want to go in there and play competitively and make that thing a game, and find a way to get the ball in the end zone and just play. Come out of it feeling like you made those guys work. The scoreboard doesn't, I think, reflect just how hard our guys did play. I'm not disappointed in our guys at all. I've had a chance to watch it and review it. They played hard. Our effort level was through the roof. They matched the intensity that was in the stadium, which is asking a lot. We played twitchy and violent in some areas. I know, again, it doesn't show up on the scoreboard, but we didn't give up a sack. We didn't turn the ball over. We created a turnover, really two when you consider the blocked punt. So we did some good things, and that happened because guys did play hard, played 60 minutes, played twitchy, played violent where they could. At the end of the day, it's just a matchup problem for us. We just don't physically match up with that roster right now, and a lot of people are not going to. That'll be the interesting thing to watch as the season progresses. Just how much better are they than people on their roster, even in their own league? You look at last year's scores, and they scored 40 and 50 points on a weekly basis, scored 41 against the national champion in the SEC championship game. So scoring points is something they're really good at doing, and they have only gotten better athletically in terms of their roster. So we're going to learn what we can from it, show our guys what we can in terms of our effort level, the violence and twitch that we did see, the technical things that we did that were good, even though they may not have shown up as obvious to the naked eye or to the scoreboard. We're going to learn everything we can from it, drain everything we can from it, and then put it in proper perspective and move forward. This is you can do really, really good things in that environment and it not show, and we want to make sure that our guys do get that, see it, and are able to move forward and prepare for the games ahead of us on our schedule where people look like we do. And the matchups will be more even or in our favor in some areas as well. And so that's the challenge for us. I don't want these guys to doubt the process. The process allowed us to do some good things, even though the scoreboard does not reflect it. So, Weaver's going to come in this week with their hair on fire. This is Super Bowl for a lot of guys on that roster. Jay will have them coached up. They're good at what they do. They're coming off a big win, and so we got to reset and refocus and play our best ball Saturday, and that's what we'll do today. Start that process as soon as we can. What questions do you have?
Coach, Trent Wood with Deseret News. I'm curious, from your perspective, what are the benefits of non-conference games, and then what are maybe the negatives to non-conference games?
Not being in the NFL where you don't have preseason, and the rankings being based off of the entire season, it's different. Clearly, I've had teams and coached a team not too long ago that really struggled in non-conference. We did not play well. We did not win a lot of games, and then we went 8-0 in conference play. So it did prepare us in some ways. We found out a lot about ourselves. We found some guys that could contribute. We learned, but Division I college football, as it stands right now, is unique in the sense that there is no preseason. Every game is critical in terms of your potential to be ranked high enough to be in the top 25, or for some teams to get in the playoffs. So it is we're in a rare environment compared to every other sport that plays that's just trying to get to the playoffs. With our playoff being so small, we've got to try to win every game. There's no room for extra guys to play. There's no, it was just a preseason game. The real ones count. That's just not the environment of Division I football. And don't know that it ever will be. Maybe with the 12-team playoff, maybe there's a different thought process. It's more about winning your league. But that's just not the environment I've coached in for the last 30 years.
Hey, Coach Al Lewis down at KVNU. So in line with that, no matter who you play this week, with a bye next week before you start conference play, isn't this really a huge game for your team after what happened Saturday too?
Oh, absolutely. It is regardless of the bye. It's the next opponent. It's, get that bad taste out of your mouth, go out and play your best ball. It's going to be that every week. I think it's just maybe a little bit magnified coming off this particular type of game where the matchups were so lopsided and the scoreboard just didn't show the positive things that we actually did do. It's even more important that you get on a positive track and find a way to be 1-0 this week against a very well-coached football team that's going to have every reason to come in here and play their very best. So, yeah, I think it's tremendously important this week.
Coach Patrick Mayhorn with the Ag Ship. You said last week going into the game that you wanted to see better tackling. You wanted to see fewer critical mistakes. From rewatching the game, it seemed like the tackling was better. It seemed like the run fits were better. What were your thoughts on that? Going through the game.
No, I agree. We did improve. It's hard to see, and the fan sitting there watching TV is not going to notice. But as you play the game, we made them. Their leading rusher in the first half was a quarterback escaping the pocket, and when you play them and they're handing it off to two really, really talented running backs, but we're making the quarterback move the change with his feet. There's a positive there. We were tackling well. We did make them earn the yards they got. We defended. I know we got a couple calls that didn't go our way, but we defended in some one-on-one situations well. They had to extend plays and scramble to create some of their most explosive plays. Again, the scoreboard doesn't show it, but we did play more physically, more violent, more soundly defensively in most areas in this particular game, and we had less lost yardage plays offensively. We didn't have a sack, we didn't have a turnover, and we had less lost yardage plays. We didn't gain as much as we did the week before, and clearly didn't get it in the end zone, but there were a lot of very positive things that did happen that will help us down the road if we can continue to build on them. It just is really difficult to see. You have to work at it and know what you're looking for.
Coach Brian Phillips, Big Blue Aggie, USU Aggie News. I think one of the goals was to come out of the Alabama game injury-free. Do you feel like that happened? And then a follow-up question, is there anybody that didn't play in the Alabama game that you anticipate playing against Weber?
I would expect that both Kyrese Rowan and Brock Lane will both play this week, did not travel to play. Everybody else that we took got on the field for the most part. We played a lot of bodies as the game progressed. It made sense to get as many reps for as many guys as we could. Those are valuable reps, I think, just for confidence and understanding that I can get a signal, go out and do what I was asked to do. And that was probably one of the most positive things that we got. A lot of guys got in and played. We did get out of the game healthy in the sense of just bumps and bruises. We pulled Logan fairly early. He did get dinged, but he's fine, structurally fine. Sore, going to be sore for a couple days, but should be fine and ready to go. Halle didn't finish, but again, bumps and bruises, not a significant injury. Everybody that played got out of it. Physical game, very sore, very physical game, sore, but should be fine by Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, and I would expect to be at full strength when we play on Saturday. So in that particular type of game, to add insult to injury would be to have several guys that don't play the rest of the season. We've seen that happen. I've had that happen in the past. We're fortunate that in this case we did get out of it, really with just minor scrapes and bumps that we can heal up and move forward.
Hey, Coach
Jake Nielsen.
Okay, go ahead, Jake.
Oh, thanks. Coach Jake Nielsen, KSL.com. Can I ask you about Jordan Wilmore and what's going on with him?
Jordan was sick on Friday, and we had to decide whether to put him on the plane or not. We weren't sure exactly what it might be, and the possibility of potentially being COVID was we decided it was safer to leave him home. He was planning to travel and play and did not go because he was sick. Should be fine this week, and expect to get him on the field.
Coach, I was going to turn it to Weber State. Jay Hill's a defensive coach, and it looks like they've always hung their hat on defense down there. They've been tough for teams to move the ball on. Can you talk a little bit about what you see after just their first game?
Yeah, it shows. I mean, he, kind of his back. I think he's had a little bit to do with both sides at some point, but for the most part, a defensive guy. It shows they play very aggressive. they'll get in your face, play man coverage against anybody. You obviously see their first game. It was never in question. They dominated from beginning to end. But you watch them a year ago when they play Utah, a team that you would expect is way more athletic, and they still stick to their plan. They play man coverage. I think they faked 5 punts last year, and 3 or 4 of them were successful. He plays to win. He plays aggressive ball. We're going to have to win in one-on-one battles, be sound, and earn everything you get. Same thing. I think he does a great job.
Coach Brian Phillips again. Talk about Ike Larson. It seems like the more he sees the field, his play continues to elevate. Do you anticipate maybe him sneaking into the starting lineup sometime soon?
Well, he's basically there now. If you just kind of watch how we rotate players, I'm not as big on who starts as I am who plays productive downs and critical situations. And he's shown real quickly that when it's critical that he's gonna be around the ball. The block punt was a very headsy play. Didn't panic. We got him right where I wanted him, and he didn't panic. The interception covered a ton of ground, big hits, tackles. Man, he's going to have a great career here. I don't know whether he's the first guy to go out or he goes out play 2 or he's the first sub package to go. He's going to play a lot of critical downs for us this season, and his career from this point forward, if he can stay healthy, is going to be phenomenal.
Coach Patrick Mayhorn with the Ag Ship again. Patrick Joyner Jr. was very physically, I think, impressive in this weekend, but he gets kicked out for targeting. What's the coaching point for a play like that where, you want a guy to be aggressive, but he maybe goes a little bit too far and gets himself out of the game?
Yeah, the challenge there is just where he makes contact. He was right where he needed to be. He got to the quarterback early. He was not late. It was not a late hit. I clarified that with the officials. It was, and the call was right. He did make contact above the shoulders, and it's a learning point for us. It's a great opportunity to teach. I'm glad it happened in the first half, so we don't lose him for this particular game. He did miss the second half. He knew when he did it was wrong. He apologized for it. We'll teach off of it today, and hopefully avoid making contact from the shoulders up in the future or leading with the head. But it was one of the good calls of the day. There were several I didn't agree with. That one I did, and we it's something we've got to avoid. Can't have guys taken off the field because we can't target the right area. We know the rules today. You got to hit the target zone, shoulders to knees. You can't be above it. You can't lead with the head. So we'll learn from it and move forward. But he is playing well. He is in good shape physically. He's playing well. I hate that he missed, but that's the penalty that we have to avoid in the future.
Hey, Coach Al Lewis back at KVNU again. I don't know if you've met David Fiafia, who was a Utah State running back. He's on the Weber State coaching staff. He's got a son battling cancer. I'm kind of trying to develop a story on that this week, but do you know anything about the situation, or you can say anything about it?
I know of it. I have not met him or his family. I did reach out at one point just with a message that thoughts and prayers for, I know the battle, and it's not fun, and definitely not when you're talking about your child. So I look forward to meeting him if I get the opportunity to do so. But I'm not familiar with the family. I know a lot of the guys here in the building are, and he's very well thought of in the industry. And we all, as much as we like to compete on game day, that's one thing I love about this profession. They pull together and rally around you when you're hurting. And I know a lot of coaches and a lot of coaches' families are doing just that for him and his family.
Coach, Trent Wood with Deseret News again. I'm curious if playing in-state opponents benefits recruiting in-state at all, or if you haven't noticed that.
I love the idea of playing in-state opponents. I'd love to play them all. I think recruiting tends to go the way it's supposed to. No one win or loss, I think, is going to affect you in a huge, huge way. I think long-term success and long-term, consistency does that. We've had great recruiting years where we won a game. Same thing when we lost a game that people would perceive we weren't supposed to lose. So I don't know that it has a huge immediate impact. I think it's more longevity and legacy and tradition. And I think the good thing about all the teams in our state, they all have that. The guys that we recruit against every day, we've all proven over the long term, man, we're all going to be successful in our own right. So, and there's a ton of good players in the state. We tend to cross lines and recruit against each other, and I think guys fall where they belong to be, and occasionally we'll steal one, or occasionally somebody else will steal one. But for the most part, the process works itself out, and guys end up at the level they need to be at.
Coach, that was my other question so in your recruiting so far of the state of Utah, because this is an in-state game, have you seen players in this state? It looks like you've already got commitments to guys in the future that will really help you think will help your program.
Oh, yeah. We start at home. We've already got a handful of commits here in the state already. We make offers here before we even start looking out of state. We'd love to build it. The numbers kind of dictate what you can. We have to have Division I athletes, and there's some guys that we have to make some really tough decisions on. We battle Utah and BYU pretty much on I would say the majority of our in-state recruits, and I think everybody kind of gets what they need, and then we travel outside the state from there, the portal, junior college, and then high school players in certain states. So I think we're all taking pretty much the same approach. And all our rosters reflect that, because there's a heavy Utah population on all of our rosters, and all are playing well.